So we'll start chapter 9, which is gaseous state.
Yeah.
This is one of the easiest chapters. It will not take long to finish this. The idea is to understand a state of matter called gaseous state. So there are three states. There will be subsequent chapters on solid state and liquid state also. But right now, the first one that we will study is gaseous state. The reason that this is first is because this is the easiest to study.
Okay.
So this is the easiest and fairly straightforward chapter. So what we will do here is list down the ideas that are there. So first of all is kinetic theory of gases. Kinetic theory of gases. Then ideal gas equation. Ideal gas equation. So from the ideal gas equation, we get some gas laws, which are
Yeah.
Boyle's law, Charles' law, and so on. Then the notion of partial pressures and Dalton's law. And finally, real gases. Real gases. These are the major ideas, okay? So we will try to finish the basic theory right now. And once we are done with that, we will move on to problems. This kinetic theory of gases is something that you will also encounter in HCV volume 2. It is in physics also, it comes.
Okay.
So later we'll be doing a physics chapter also. It will be kinetic theory of gases. So it's the same thing. Actually, like the same ideas are there with a little more rigor and a little more maths when you study it from a physics point of view, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So we'll just begin. And what is this kinetic theory of gases? So what do you understand when you think of gases? The reason that this is a gas is a state of matter which is characterized by large intermolecular distances, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Intermolecular distances. Then that's why it is free to move. Like the gas molecules are free to move about. Gas molecules are free to move about and occupy any volume and occupy any given volume, right?
Yeah.
So, okay. So these are the basic ideas that you think of when you think of gases. Now, I'm sure everyone has seen this potential energy curve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like this type of a curve, everyone has seen U, and this is R. And this is a potential energy curve where this is R is the separation between two atoms or molecules, right? Separation.
Yeah.
And this is the potential energy. Now, now there is a distance. There is a particular distance at which potential energy is minimum.
Yeah. Leaves.
U is minimum. That is the that separation is the separation at which force is maximum. R, this separation.
Yeah.
This is the separation at which force is maximum because F is equal to minus du by dr. So when you do work power energy in physics, when you are doing it right now, right? So Rahul is teaching work power energy, right?
Like we are done with circular. Starting.
Okay, we're not yet started. Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay. So work power energy, when you do, you will realize that potential energy and force are related. Okay. So F dot dr is equal to minus du. F dot dr is called work done.
Yeah.
This is a standard relation. So minus du by dr is the rate of change of potential energy with change in R. Okay.
Yeah.
If you notice here, when you are increasing R like this, you are increasing R in this way,
Yeah.
then potential energy is decreasing, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
So minus du by dr, du by dr itself is negative in this region, right? Negative slope.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Minus of
Yes.
du by dr is becoming
Positive.
positive.
Yeah.
In this entire section, it is positive, right?
Yeah.
Here, du by dr is 0. Slope is 0 here at this point, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
correct. So
Yeah.
this is the minimum of your potential energy, right? Because
Potential
du by
energy.
dr is 0, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here, minus du by dr in this section is negative, right?
Mm.
Correct. So here
Yeah.
force was positive. Force was positive means repulsive force. And force is negative means attractive force. Okay. And
Okay.
note this whole portion is attractive force, this portion. And this portion is repulsive force. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But notice that if R is large, right, then the slope is almost 0, no, again,
Zero.
right? So
Mm.
then 0 force. Force is 0, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because slope is 0 here in this region.
Yeah.
So this is the region where you can think of R being large. That means large intermolecular distances, right?
Yeah.
And that means force, gas molecules are free to move, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Intermolecular forces are 0. Forces are 0, right?
Yeah.
When they come a little closer, then liquids have a tendency to attract each other. Liquid molecules, right? They are a little closer than gas molecules, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, gas molecules are completely force is 0. Force between them, because see here when slope is almost 0, right? But if you come in this region, right? This region, there is a little bit of an attractive force. Some negative force is there, okay? So liquids are not the same as gases. Liquids are in this portion, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
There is a little bit of an attractive force. You can realize that by thinking of a droplet of water or mercury or something, right? Like if you notice that it will not spread out randomly over the whole area. It
Yeah.
will retain its droplet nature.
Yeah. Yeah.
It will be a drop, right? A drop of water is sticking to itself, right?
Yes.
That
Yes.
force is called surface tension.
Okay.
Like sometimes you can see some, surface tension, how will I explain? You can see some insects and all can actually step on water and go ahead.
Yeah.
Like some tiny living things can actually
Yeah.
walk
Yeah.
on the surface of water.
Yeah. Wow.
Because actually water surface, the molecules on the surface, they want to reduce their surface area. Okay, they are
Okay.
facing an attractive force from each other. Okay, so liquids have that property of surface tension because there is an attractive force on liquids between liquid molecules. But gaseous molecules, that because there is no attractive force, they are free to move and therefore they will occupy any volume,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
all due to this large intermolecular distances and this type of a potential energy curve. Okay. So what happens when you push them closer? Like eventually there will be a solid
Solid
situation,
state.
crystal, right? Where
Yes.
in a crystal they will be at an ideal optimal distance. Okay. And
Yeah.
if you push it further, then there will be repulsive force. That is why solids have a force of normal force they exert, right?
Yeah.
The reason there is normal force from the ground is because someone is standing on the ground, then the molecules here are pushed closer than they want to be.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
is a slight deformation here, and layers of molecules are there, and some molecule has come closer than is necessary, right?
Hmm.
And there is a repulsive force.
Okay.
So this curve is what explains everything.
Okay.
U versus R curve. If you go beyond the optimal distance, right,
Hmm.
then the force becomes repulsive. It pushes you apart, right? That
Yeah.
is why
Yeah.
you cannot pass through walls and all. Like that is why
Mm.
basically everything has a solids exert a force, right? When you push
Yeah.
them. This is the
Yes.
whole
Yes.
reason for
Okay.
tension, normal force, all of these things.
Yeah.
Because you are either pushing things too close to each other where molecules don't want to be so close, or atoms
Hmm.
don't want to be so close. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Okay.
so gases are operating in this region where forces are zero because the slope
Hmm.
is negligible. Slope is almost zero now. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, kinetic theory of gases basically tries to understand properties of gases on the basis of certain assumptions. Properties of gases on the basis of certain assumptions. Now, but before we go to the assumptions, what we want to first figure out is there are some statements here, some assumptions on the basis of which a theory is built up of how to explain gaseous properties, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So, but before we go to that, like, why can't you just figure out all that is needed by just thinking of like Newton's laws and stuff, right? Normal mechanics that you have learned, like suppose
Hmm.
this container is filled with gas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If this container is filled with gas, it has a lot of these particles, a lot of these molecules, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, uh, why do we need a new theory to explain it? We know everything about motion of particles, right?
Hmm.
Like if I give you a particle and I tell you the force on the particle, then an initial velocity initial is given, right? And force is given. What is the force? That also you know, right? Then you should be able to
Yeah.
predict how the particle will move later, right?
Yeah.
Basically, that is what is mechanics, right? You are saying
Yeah. Yeah.
where the particle will be, right?
Hmm.
Yes. Yes.
So technically, Newton's laws are enough. Technically, it is enough. Like Newton's laws, if you know all the forces, then you are done, right? Newton's laws should be able to predict what will happen to each molecule of that body, right? Of that
Yeah.
gas, right?
Yeah.
But the problem is that the number of molecules are how many? One
Okay.
mole of gas also has how many molecules? 6 into 10 power 23,
Yeah.
right?
Two.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, if you ever tried to keep track of one particular molecule, right, labeled it as A, right,
Hmm.
then the problem is that like there are innumerable other particles which will exert forces on it, right,
Yeah.
as it moves
Yes.
around.
Yes.
It might hit this,
Mm.
then it will hit that, and whatever, right?
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
and it is happening so fast, and there are uncountable number of forces that you don't know the values of, right?
Yeah.
Like almost like infinite number of forces
Mm.
whose values you don't know. So Newton's laws of motion is pointless, right? Here,
Hmm.
because we don't have the knowledge, necessary information to first of all find out what forces are acting on it at any given moment, right?
Yeah.
Due
Yeah.
to so many other molecules, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
And suppose even if we found out all the forces on a particular one, right?
Hmm.
The problem is maybe we found this out, like all the forces acting on this particle for some duration of time, right?
Okay.
That particle and its motion does not tell us anything because ultimately you have to describe the whole gas, right?
Yeah.
So you have to do the same thing for every particle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if someone asks you what is the situation of the system right now, then you have to say where everything in the system is, right?
Yeah.
Or what everything in the system is doing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have to solve Newton's laws for all particles at all times, and we don't know any of the forces,
Was it? Yeah.
right? So it is completely
Yeah.
pointless here, right? Like,
Mm.
and even if we knew all the forces, still solving it for every particle would be a pain, right? It will be almost
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
impossible. We don't have the computing power to do it, right?
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is too much. This is too many particles, and this is just 1 mole of gas, right?
Mm.
1 mole of
Yeah.
gas
Yeah.
means 32 grams of oxygen, right?
Yeah.
So,
Mm.
so it is impossible for us to do it by Newton's laws. So, therefore, people started thinking about how to figure out properties of gases using using properties of gases using variables, or uh, using concepts which were aggregate in nature, aggregate variables. Aggregate
Okay.
variables means uh, for the whole system, for
Mm.
the whole system rather than for an individual,
One part.
right? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
focusing our attention on one particular molecule, what we'll do is focus our attention on the entire
System.
system of molecules, right?
Mm.
Because maybe that is easier to do. Okay,
Yeah.
maybe that is easier to do. So it is comparatively easier to do because, say, for example, one property that we can easily measure is volume.
Yeah.
Volume of the whole system we can measure, right?
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then similarly, pressure on the walls, or basically that is the gas pressure, right?
Yeah.
Pressure on the walls we can measure.
Yeah.
That is a property that depends on all particular particles, right?
Mm. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So first of all, before we go ahead, we need to understand what pressure is. Pressure is defined as force by area.
Mm.
Pressure is equal to force by area. You already know that in lower classes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So force by area is 1 Newton per meter square. This is the unit. So 1 Pascal is the unit. Okay.
Mm.
This is called Pascal, Newton per meter square.
Yeah.
We also write this in terms of 1 atm, right? 1
Yeah.
atmospheric pressure. So the atmosphere
Yes.
also exerts a pressure, and that value is sometimes written as 76 centimeter of
Of
Hg,
HG.
right? So what is the
Yeah.
meaning of this centimeter of Hg and all? So it means, suppose there is Earth, right? What is
Yeah.
happening is that atmosphere is still here, okay?
Mm.
And let's take a 1 meter square area on Earth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
If we make a column like this, right? Column till the upper limit of
Yeah.
values, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
All the air in it, right? All the air in it will be pulled down, right? By gravity.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
So the entire mass of the air in this column, right? Mg is the downward force, right?
Yeah.
It will be pulled down by the force of gravity, correct?
Mm.
So
Mm.
the column of air will not penetrate inside the earth, obviously. Like there will be a normal force that is exerted by the ground, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the weight of this force acting on the ground divided by the area is the pressure, atm.
Mm. Yeah.
Okay, so this is the
Okay.
mass of all the air that is above your head. Okay,
Mm. Mm.
that divided by area is the pressure of the atmosphere that you feel. Okay,
Yeah.
so if you go into a swimming pool or you do some diving, what will happen is all the water above you will be also exerting pressure, right?
Pressure. Yeah.
So the weight will be higher, so pressure is higher as you go deeper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
column of Hg means this is 76 centimeter of mercury. That much weight can be supported by air pressure, atmospheric
Okay.
pressure. So
Mm.
how do we figure that out? For example, suppose you have a mercury vessel
Yeah.
containing mercury, right? Correct. Now, think of pressure of the atmosphere acting downward, right?
Yeah.
On the top layer of Mercury, right?
Hmm.
On the top layer of Mercury, this top layer. So pressure acting downward, by that I mean that force into area, force by area.
Yeah.
Force by area. This is the weight of atmosphere, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
now top layer is facing this force and it is staying stable. That means bottom layer was pushing it up with that much force, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Otherwise it would come down, right?
Come down. Yeah.
So just the layer below the top layer I'm talking about, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
This is the top layer, this is the second layer. So second layer is pushing the top layer up with that equal force, right?
Yeah.
Now take
Yeah.
a capillary tube, take a vacuum, like a capillary tube with no air, right?
Yeah.
Like tiny thin capillary. Take a capillary tube with no air and put it like this here, right?
Hmm.
Now because it had no air, then suddenly there is no pressure here, no?
Yeah.
Right? But the lower
Yeah.
layer is still pushing it up, right?
Yeah.
The second layer is still pushing the top layer up, right? That
Up.
doesn't
Yeah.
change. You have just taken a capillary and put it down here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is pushed up, right?
Yeah.
Liquid is pushed up now, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
How much is it pushed up? It is pushed up by, this was pressure ATM into area was the force, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how much will it be pushed up? Till the point where the weight of the liquid column is equal to this.
It's equal to that.
Like it will go up till the height when weight is going to be able to balance this,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
That
Yeah.
much liquid will go up, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So mg should be equal to pressure ATM into area of the capillary tube, right?
Yeah.
And this is, say, mercury, suppose. So mass will be equal to density of mercury into volume of mercury into G is equal to
Yeah.
P ATM into A. And volume of mercury in this portion will be A into height of mercury, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So pressure ATM into A cancels.
So cancel. Yeah.
Pressure ATM becomes rho mercury G into height mercury,
Yeah. Yeah.
rho GH.
OGH.
Yeah.
So if someone tells you the height of mercury column is 76 centimeter, that means write down mercury density is 13.6 gram per centimeter cube and write down G. So convert to SI units now and you will get the actual Pascal pressure. Okay.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
Pressure ATM
Yeah.
value
Yeah,
will
yeah.
be convert to SI units, do the calculation. What it turns out to be is pressure ATM in SI units is 101,325 Pascal, which is almost 1.01 into 10 to the power 5 Pascal. Sometimes written as 10 to the power 5 Pascal. This is the actual value. This is the same as 760 mm of Hg or 76 centimeter of Hg, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is this whole manometer, and this is how you measure pressure. You see
Pressure,
the
yeah.
height of the column of mercury. Why are we using mercury? Because mercury is really dense, so the column will
Density,
be
yeah.
small. Like if you use
Yeah.
water instead, no, the column
Rise
is
much
2
higher.
meters higher.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you need a capillary which is a lot higher, right?
Yeah.
76 centimeter is for mercury, then 13 times that will be the height of the water column. So that is not feasible. That's why we use a dense liquid like mercury, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is how you measure air pressure and all. Now, what I was telling you actually was this. There was a system, and we are measuring properties of the system. We are trying to describe this system containing gas using some knowledge of variables that are extensive in nature or aggregate in nature, right? We are not talking about now individual molecules. We are talking about the whole thing at one go, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one obvious aggregate variable is volume.
Volume.
Volume occupied by the whole thing. Then second is pressure.
Hmm.
Okay. Pressure. So now pressure, what is this pressure? How is this exerting a pressure, right? The reason that it exerts a pressure is because the molecules of the gas are in constant motion, are in
Yeah.
constant,
Kinetic energy.
correct. So
Hmm.
now these molecules are in constant motion and they are going around randomly, but eventually they keep striking this wall,
Striking the ball.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So suppose some molecule had a velocity v and mass m. So it had a momentum mv, right?
Yeah.
It had a momentum mv and it struck the wall like this, right?
Hmm.
Suppose. Then when it strikes the wall, it undergoes a collision with the wall. And what happens is, you will do this in physics also. The next chapter after work by energy is center of mass and collisions. Okay. So right now you might not know it, but what happens in collision is there are two types of collision. There is elastic collision. Elastic collision is like a collision of a rubber ball with a
Rubber
wall.
ball. Yeah.
And there is inelastic collision. Inelastic collision is the kind of collision where, say, a car hit uh, or a truck hit a car and both of them are now dragged together.
Hmm.
Something like that, right? Where it's not bouncing off, it is stuck together and going.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Inelastic collision means bodies are stuck after the collision
Yeah.
and then
Okay.
they are moving, right? And elastic
Yeah.
collision is things are bouncing off. Okay. So the real definition is kinetic energy is conserved here.
Hmm.
That means initial kinetic energy before the collision is the same as final kinetic energy after the collision. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You will learn about it. So in physics. So right now, just assume that collision is happening, right? And after the collision, this is going back with the same kinetic energy,
Same kind of. Yeah.
right? It is not
Yeah.
losing any kinetic energy. That is the assumption. Let's say that collisions are like that, right? Reality will not be like that. Reality, it will lose a little bit. It will not be perfectly elastic, right? It's like you
Okay.
actually bounce a ball, then it loses some height, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So real collisions are not really perfectly elastic. There will be some change, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
could come up with a situation when it is close to elastic, close to
Hmm.
perfectly elastic, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So in gases, we are assuming that collisions are elastic. So if you come with mv, then after collision you're going back with
Go
v,
back. Yeah. Same.
right? So now what has happened to the momentum of the particle? There has been a change in momentum, right?
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
equal to
Yeah.
minus 2 mv, right?
Minus 2 MB.
Final momentum is minus mv. Initial momentum was plus mv, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Final minus initial has become minus 2 mv, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this collision happened, let's say, over a small period of time called delta t, right?
Okay.
It was a microsecond or something in which you just hit and came back, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The actual time of collision, basically, I'm talking about, like the time
Mm-hmm.
for which the ball was in contact with the wall.
Contact with the thing. Yeah.
That is delta t. In that time only the momentum has changed, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It cannot be that while it was in the air, the momentum was changing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Momentum was changing because the wall was applying a force on it,
Hmm.
correct? So now
Yeah.
delta
Yeah.
t, we can say something it will be, and delta p by delta t is equal to minus 2 mv by
Force.
delta t. So this is called force, no? Force
Mm-hmm.
is dp by dt, rate of
Yeah.
change of
Yeah.
momentum, right? Everyone knows that, no? Force is rate of change of momentum.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is the force that was exerted by the wall on the molecule, right? Because of which
Hmm.
the molecule reversed direction, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct. So by Newton's third law, the same force will be exerted by the molecule on the wall,
Yeah.
right? Newton's third law says if ball exerts force on wall, then wall exerts force on ball, right?
Yeah.
So we
Yeah,
know
yeah.
that the wall is definitely pushing the molecule away. So ball was definitely pushing the wall on the other direction, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yes.
because of this transfer, because of this change in momentum, there is a force on the wall, right? Now, this is, I have just described only one particular molecule doing this collision. At any
Mm-hmm.
given moment of time, millions of molecules might be hitting the wall.
Yeah. Yeah.
So all of those tiny, tiny changes in momentum add up, and there is a net force on the wall, right?
Yeah.
That net force on the wall divided by area is the average pressure on the wall,
Okay.
right? So clearly, what you can say is that from the fact that the molecules in a gas are moving around, from that fact, we can deduce that there is pressure, right, on the wall.
Pressure on the. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Then the third variable. So two variables we have understood. One is volume. Second is pressure. Third is temperature.
Temperature.
Temperature, yeah.
So temperature is also another property of the whole system.
Yeah.
Because obviously it will not be that one part of the gas will be at a different temperature and another part is at a different temperature.
Different. Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you leave it like that, that eventually it will come to equilibrium.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in the previous chapter, we briefly saw that internal energy, right, or U, was described as sum of kinetic energies plus potential energies for all molecules, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For all molecules, right? Now, in this case, in a gaseous case, there is very little potential energy because we saw in that curve that potential energy was tending to zero, right?
Zero. Yeah.
Yeah, zero.
Potential energy is not there for gases, but kinetic energy is there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So internal energy is proportional to the kinetic energy of motion of the gas molecules,
Yes. Yeah.
right? Now,
Yeah, yeah.
this internal energy is directly measured by temperature,
Temperature.
right? We say that a body at a higher temperature is having more internal
Okay.
energy
Yeah.
and more kinetic energy,
Correct. Yeah.
right? So temperature is
Yeah.
again measuring the overall internal energy of the system, right?
Yeah.
It is not measuring the temperature. Temperature is not measuring internal energy of one molecule. Okay.
No. Yeah.
So this
It's measuring
system.
the its average kinetic energy of the overall system.
Yeah.
This is another variable. Now, the last variable that we need is number of moles, which is obvious. Like obviously, you will need to know how much gas is there. No, this
Yeah.
how much is there. Correct. And
Yeah.
this is also a property of the entire system, right? So, number of moles, temperature, volume, and pressure. So, volume, pressure, temperature, and number of moles, right?
Yeah.
These four variables, right?
Yeah.
Four variables are able to explain most of the properties of gases. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
these variables are basically called state variables. State variables because they describe the current state of the system.
Okay.
A particular value of P, V, and T and N, right, is a current
Yeah.
state of the system, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
After some time, some value might have changed, so that is the system is in a different state, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct. So these state variables P, V, T, N are sufficient to describe most of the properties of gases, and that is why we use it because it's a fairly simple set of 4 or 5 variables which are related to each other in some way, right? And
Yeah.
that can help us predict like the properties of gases which are very, very distinct from each other. Very different gases also you can still explain it using it. Okay.
Yeah.
So now, what are the statements in the theory? Assumptions in the kinetic theory of gases. We are talking about what are the assumptions that are made there.
Yeah.
First
Okay.
assumption is gases are mostly empty space.
Okay.
What is the meaning of that? The meaning of that is that intermolecular distances are much larger
Hmm.
than the actual volume of the gas molecules.
Yeah, but like, is that true?
Yes.
So then why is it an assumption?
I mean, it's an assumption in the sense that you're assuming that for all gases this is true. Like if you make high pressure, right?
Yeah.
In certain cases it will not be true. Like it will
Oh,
be
okay, like
comparable.
that also. So
Like you're
even
saying,
under high pressure, you're saying that
you are saying that even at that high pressure,
distances are high. Okay.
distances are way higher than the actual volumes. So
Yeah.
actual
Okay.
volumes will be calculated by taking the volume of atomic radii or molecular radii, finding the
Yeah.
volume of this sphere, and then multiplying by number of molecules, right? Avogadro number into number of moles.
Yeah.
So this might be very small, but this is a high, right? So
Yeah.
actual volume will come out to be something, but like if you do a rough calculation, let's say 4 by 3 pi r cube, and let's say 100 picometer is the radius, suppose, right?
Yeah.
So 10 to the power minus 10 is the radius, so 10 power minus 30 comes, right?
Yeah.
When you do r cube and multiply by 6 into 10 power 23 into 1 mole, suppose. So still
Yeah.
it is 10 power minus 7 and so on, right? The volume is coming towards 10 power minus 7 and
Yeah.
something like that, right?
Hmm.
So this is in meter cube. So actually this is in meter cube. So you can say that it is 10 to the power minus 1 ml or something, right?
Yeah.
0.1
Yeah.
ml or something, right? 1000 is 1 liter and 1000. So 10 power 6 ml.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So the actual gas will occupy this much volume if you liquefy it. This is the real volume.
Yeah.
Okay. But actually it is occupying quite a big space,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
it is
Yeah.
not occupying this much. No, it is occupying a big space, right?
Yeah.
This is one of the assumptions. Gases are mostly empty space. Intermolecular distances are much larger than the actual volume of the gas molecules. Second assumption is no intermolecular force is exerted between the molecules of a gas. Force is present. No intermolecular force. This is what we were discussing earlier between gas molecules. Now, obviously, this is also not exactly true because the slope is not exactly zero.
Yeah.
The slope is close to zero, but not exactly zero, right? So we are going to assume this. No force is there. Okay.
Yeah.
Then the third one is all the molecules are in constant motion. Gas molecules are in constant motion, and that gives them a kinetic energy of motion, right?
Yeah.
That kinetic energy of motion is basically measured by temperature.
Hmm.
Okay, kinetic energy of motion. Now, what happens? Fourth assumption is that uh, all the collisions are completely elastic. All the collisions are elastic, right? Perfectly elastic. That means any two molecules hit each other, then they bounce back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct. They don't stick together and keep moving. They hit each other and bounce back. So,
Yeah.
okay. So that means kinetic energy is conserved.
Yeah.
Kinetic energy is conserved. That is the meaning of an elastic collision. So now what this means, okay, these four are enough. These four assumptions are enough to build the entire theory of this chapter. Okay. The derivations of some of the results we'll not see because it is there in the book. You can just read it. It's not difficult. It is in volume 2. Okay.
Okay.
Volume 2 of HCV. It is in chapter 26 or 27. Kinetic theory of gases.
Okay.
So now what happens is, as a result of these, right? As a result of these variables, P, V, T, N, right? People did a lot of experiments. So many people like Boyle, Charles, these are all chemists in the 1800s and 1700s who figured out that there is a relation or connection between these variables. Okay. So they did a lot of experiments keeping one variable or two variables constant, right?
Yeah.
And one or two variables were constant and the other two were varying, right? So then you will see the relationship between the other two, whether it is increasing or so what is happening is, if one is increasing, whether the other variable is increasing or not. So
Yeah.
so basically people figured out this relation between them. Okay.
Yeah.
E is equal to nRT. This is called the ideal
Ideal
gas equation.
gas.
Ideal gas equation. Now here, R is the thing that is unknown. R is called gas constant.
Yeah.
This is the constant of proportionality.
Yeah.
This is the constant of proportionality that comes when you do these experiments. Okay. So nRT, PV is equal to nRT. So what are the implications of this? It means that R value, first let me say, R value is 8.314 joule per Kelvin mole, and it can also be written sometimes as 0.0821 liter ATM. Right?
Okay.
So liter into ATM will give the same thing that comes from joule. It will be energy, because pressure is correct. Pressure, ATM is pressure and then volume. So pressure into volume will be what? Force by area into volume. No?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
force into distance, right?
Yeah.
Is the same thing as work done.
Yeah.
Okay. So PV is equal to nRT. So what is Boyle's law, for example? Like if you keep temperature and number of moles constant, right?
Yeah.
What will happen is that the right hand side will completely be constant, no?
Yeah.
So PV will be equal to constant.
Yeah.
So that will make P1 V1 should be equal to P2 V2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Correct, because PV is constant, right?
Yeah.
So you can see that PV is constant is equal to K. So pressure is proportional to 1 by V, because pressure is equal to K by V, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is called Boyle's law. So keep your temperature and pressure common, and you will be able to see that. Wait, what was I saying? Keep those things as constant, temperature and number of moles, and then you get this result, right?
Yeah.
Correct. Similarly, Charles'
Yeah.
law. Charles' law is also fairly straightforward. Charles' law is basically keeping pressure and temperature constant. So
Hmm.
P1 V1 by T1 is equal to,
Okay.
correct?
Yeah.
So what you will get is that we were to, so now how did I write this? I wrote this by doing this. PV is equal to nRT and say P1 V1 is equal to,
Yeah.
correct? Now what we need to understand here is that if your N and T are constant, not N and T, P and
P and T. Yeah.
N are constant,
Okay.
P and N are constant, then P by T, right?
Yeah.
Or V by T,
V
actually.
by T.
So V by T is equal to NR by P, right?
Yeah. Constant.
All of these are constant, suppose. So then you should have V by T is equal to constant.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That means uh, V by P, correct. Uh, 1 second. Pressure and number of moles
V
was
by
taken as constant. No? So V
V
by
by
T.
Yeah, yeah. V by T.
V1 by T1 should be equal to V2 by T2,
yeah.
right? So,
Yeah.
okay. Then you are understanding what is happening. All the time
Yeah.
you apply PV is equal to nRT. This is the ideal gas equation. You should know
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
value of
Yeah.
the gas constant. This constant that R is appearing, no, is called the gas constant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now, this was Charles' law. So basically, Boyle's law says P is proportional to 1 by V. Charles' law says V is proportional to T,
T.
right? So this
Yeah.
becomes,
Yeah.
this is not small t, this is capital T.
Temperature.
Kelvin.
Okay. So then V is proportional to T is the statement of Charles' law. Then we come to, and this was Boyle's law. Then we come to the idea of uh, uh, what was the next topic that was there? Partial pressures was there.
Yeah.
Ideal gas law equation. Okay, before we go to that, I want to say something about ideal gas versus a real gas.
Okay.
So ideal gas versus a real gas, what is the contrast between them? Like what is the difference between them, right?
Yeah.
So what happens is that those assumptions that we had taken, right?
Yeah.
Assumptions are not always true in all cases.
Hmm.
Gas molecules may occupy a tiny volume, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Volume. Uh, then what else is not true? What else is not true? All collisions
Right.
are not elastic.
Intermolecular forces also there.
All collisions are not elastic here, right?
Yeah. And the forces.
And zero
Intermolecular.
forces between them. Zero intermolecular forces between them for gas molecules.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the assumption.
These are the assumptions that may or may not be true, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now this is called Charles' law, V proportional to T. Then after this we have okay, so let's discuss this partial pressure idea. Partial pressures of a gas. Basically, we are studying that for preparation by Okay. Partial pressures of a gas, how do you measure? So first we need to understand what is the meaning of partial pressure. Right? So partial pressure is basically if there is a mixture of gases, right?
Yeah.
If there is a mixture of gases like air, right? Air is a mix of many different gases, right? Then, uh, then what is the pressure? What pressure was exerted by just nitrogen? So what portion of the total pressure was due to what is
Nitrogen.
pressure due to nitrogen? Okay.
Yeah.
Or oxygen or any other gas in the mixture, right?
Yeah.
So if you know total
Yeah.
pressure, you can measure total pressure easily by doing the calculation of the change in momentum and stuff
Yeah.
when a molecule hits a wall, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, suppose you have done all that calculation and found the total pressure, and you have an equation like this: PV is equal to nRT, right? So this was for the total pressure of the system, right?
Yeah.
Correct. Now, what we can do is uh, uh, we can think of if it was only nitrogen in this vessel, right?
Yeah.
So, so let's say there were 3 moles of oxygen of O2 and uh, there was almost 10 moles of nitrogen, suppose, right? So total moles of the gas is 13, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Total moles of a gas is 13 of the mixture. But what is different is that total moles is 13. And if you just keep track of just your nitrogen, right, for example,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So then what will happen is what is the pressure due to nitrogen? That will be equal to moles of nitrogen into RT by V, right?
Yeah.
So forget about all the other gases. Take one particular gas. How much pressure would it exert, right?
Yeah.
That is what we are doing here. And let's say if there is pressure due to oxygen, it will be N of O2 into RT by V, right?
Yeah.
Now, total pressure total will be the sum of the pressure
Yeah.
initials, right? Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sum of the pressures. So total pressure is going to be equal to you have P total is equal to N RT by V, where N is the total, right?
Yeah.
N is equal to
And
NA, correct?
yeah.
So what happens here is that P total is this, and N is equal to NA by V plus NB into RT by V, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is due to one and this is due to the other. So if you add it up, it becomes NA plus NB RT by V, right?
Yeah.
But this
Yeah.
is N, no? N RT by V,
Yeah. And total.
right? N total, right? So P
Yeah.
total
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
equal to N total into RT by V, correct?
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
what we can say from here is that uh, P, uh, one second, P total multiplied by X N2 should be equal to Pn2, where Xn2 this is the mole fraction
Mole fraction.
of N2.
Yeah.
What is the meaning of mole fraction? Is moles of N2 by total moles.
Total moles.
Total
Yeah.
moles.
Moles of N2 by moles of N2 plus moles of O2.
Hmm.
That is the mole fraction of N2, right?
Yeah.
Now notice that this is coming because P total is nRT by V, and P due to nitrogen is just N2 RT by V, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And RT by V can be written as N2, and it is V by nRT, right?
Yeah.
Correct. V by nRT.
Yeah.
So now what happens is into V by nRT, from where did I write? 2RT by V into N. Okay, so correct. So what I will do is this RT by V, right,
Yeah.
is equal to P total by N, no?
Yeah.
RT by V is equal to P
P
total
total by
by N, right?
yeah.
N is the total number of moles.
Moles.
So it is clearly becoming partial fraction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, the idea is very simple. If there is a room right now and it has 3 gases, right? Correct.
Hmm.
Because he has actually it has 3 gases, then what happens is that you want to find out pressure due to just one of those gas, right?
Yeah.
Pressure on the
Yeah.
walls of the container due to just one would be a ratio of the pressure on the total container wall, right? And that ratio will be
Yes.
how many molecules of this was there, that particular gas were there, relative to the total number of molecules of
Total.
the whole gas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That itself is very difficult, right? I mean,
Hmm.
this, if you want to find out this, P due to N2 is equal to N2 by N2 plus NO2 into P total. So this is the
Yeah.
first way to do it rather than actually trying to measure Pn2, right? You
Hmm.
cannot
Yeah.
actually measure it without removing the other gas, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
This portion of the total pressure was due to nitrogen, and this portion would have been due to oxygen.
Oxygen.
Here, one inherent assumption in this is that all ideal gases behave in the same way.
Hmm.
Gases behave in the same way. Actually, there are many gases where there are intermolecular forces and so on,
Yeah.
and they behave differently. Many of these gases will behave differently at a certain temperature and pressure, right?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
This is the idea of partial pressures and Dalton's law. Dalton's law says total pressure is sum of partial pressures
Hmm.
plus P, CO2, and so on,
Yeah. Okay.
right?
Yeah.
That is total pressure. That is the sum of individual pressures. Now here, PV is equal to nRT is my standard ideal gas equation. Now, what happens is that real gases do not follow the standard gas equation
Hmm.
or ideal gas equation.
Yeah.
because real gases fail to satisfy two assumptions. There are intermolecular forces between them.
And
There are intermolecular forces, and their volume is not actually zero.
yeah,
There is a real volume that they
yeah,
occupy. Okay, so there is a real volume that they occupy. So there have to be slight alterations in the standard ideal gas equation to make it work for the real gases.
yeah, yeah,
The way the equation is altered is P plus n square A by V square and V minus NB is equal to nRT.
okay,
Okay, so instead of
Yeah.
having P and V, I am going to have P plus something and V minus something, right?
okay,
Here A and B are constants.
yeah,
A and B are constants that depend on the particular gas.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Now this equation is followed by all real gases. So basically this is the more realistic equation.
yeah,
Ideal gas equation is simple and it predicts many properties very easily, but it is hard to experimentally validate that ideal gas equation. No, it is not going to work.
yeah,
There
yeah,
are slight errors in it, right? So
Yeah.
now here I want you to try and understand why there is a addition term on P and a subtraction term on B.
okay,
You understand?
yeah,
Why not the other way around and stuff, right? So think about these things, that these are the assumptions of ideal gas theory, not ideal gases, that are being violated. Okay.
yeah, yeah,
So if you look at the volume, right? So actually the volume in ideal gas theory, what you assume is that each gas molecule is a point particle. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's a point particle, and therefore points have no volume, zero volume, right?
yeah, yeah,
So the volume actually occupied by the molecules is zero. Occupied by molecules is zero in ideal gases, right?
yeah, yeah,
So
Yeah.
the entire volume of the container is available for this system, right? For moving,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
There is no subtraction, right? But now what happens is real gases, these are not dot or point dots, right? These are actual molecules now,
molecules, yeah,
right? So
Yeah.
actually slightly lesser volume is available for roaming around, no?
yeah,
You understand? It cannot be the ideal gas V, it has to be slightly lesser.
yeah, yeah,
The free space that is available, right, for each molecule to wander around, right, is
yeah,
to be lesser than what it is supposed to be available.
okay,
Understand?
yeah, yeah,
If it was a point object, point particles were there, which were not themselves occupying any volume, right,
yeah,
then it would be V. If it is an actual volume with some amount, even if it is not large, right,
yeah,
it will be
subtract,
V minus NB, right? It has to be
yeah,
subtracted. That
yeah,
is the available volume in the spaces, right?
yeah,
Similarly, let's try to understand why is uh, the second assumption, right? So why is there a change in the pressure term,
pressure, yeah,
right? So think about it. If there are intermolecular forces of attraction, right,
yeah,
then those forces of attraction are already bringing down the speeds of the uh, molecules, right?
yeah, yeah,
So if they're bringing down the speed of the molecule, then what happens is that, uh, one second. Uh, what happens is that while those molecules are rushing towards the wall, right?
Yeah.
Facing an attractive force towards in the opposite direction by other molecules, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clearly, they will experience that, right?
Yeah.
So, because of which, what happens is that the molecule that hits the wall now is no longer as fast as when it started, right? Moving.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there is a negative acceleration, there is a pulling force, right?
Hmm.
Real gases. So they will not strike the, they will not, uh, they will not strike the edge of the wall with the same high speed, right?
Yeah.
So the change in momentum would be larger.
Okay.
So change in momentum will be lesser in that case,
Yeah.
Lesser.
That's yeah.
Yeah.
right? Because the
Yeah.
MV will be smaller, no?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they are being pulled back a little, right?
Hmm.
Because of
Yeah.
attractive forces. So MV will be lesser. So change in momentum will be lesser, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So force applied will be lesser, right?
Hmm.
Will be lesser.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
uh, so the pressure that you actually measured, right? Actually measured, right?
Yeah.
By instruments, right? It is not the ideal pressure, right?
Yeah.
Uh, ideal the pressure is reduced already by a intermolecular attractive force, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to put it in the ideal gas equation, you have to correct it and correct the reduction, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you want to use the PV is equal to nRT equation, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Here, the variables that enter this equation have to be ideal gas pressure
Ideal.
and ideal gas volume,
Good.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, variables that enter it should be like this. So what we are saying basically is the pressure that you measure in a real gas, right?
Yeah.
It's lesser than what it should have been for an ideal gas, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So you have to add it up a little bit and write that term as the ideal gas value, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And
Okay. Okay.
the volume that you measure, right?
Hmm.
It's actually volume that you see, there is a negative correction. Why is there
Yeah.
minus NB correction? Because actual volume occupied is, okay, this doesn't fit the same logic. One
Like
second.
when they're considered to be point.
When they are considered to be points, the volume
Basically,
should
that
be
that volume should not be there.
uh, one second, let me think. Ideal gas volume will be V minus NB.
Yeah.
Correct, correct, makes sense. Total volume is V, right? And
If
the real volume of the molecules is something now, right? So V
yeah.
minus NB
Yeah.
is the free space available for actual, if it was a point mass, no?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So these are the two correction factors that are added, and this is your real gas equation
Hmm.
is equal to
Like how
nRT.
did we come up with the n square a by e square?
Those that is an experimental calculation. There will be like many experiments to decide. It could
Okay.
actually be derived also, like n square by v square, the factor, but the derivation is not something that you need to know.
Hmm.
It is a slightly advanced derivation because many things you need to know, no? Okay, in the
Yeah.
sense that uh, for this you need to approximate basically intermolecular force, no?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So uh, so that force would have to be actually experimentally found out and then approximated, no? It's not like a trivial thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dimensional analysis you can think of and then guess what should come, right?
Yeah.
Overall thing
Yeah.
has to have units of pressure, right?
Pressure.
Right. Overall thing has to have units of pressure here, and n square is dimensionless.
Yeah.
So this v square, why is there a v square? But again, you need to know what a is, right? A and
A.
so dimensional analysis will not help right now. You actually have to theoretically figure out why the force will be, what will be the force and what is the variation, and then only
Yeah.
you'll be able to get it, right?
Yeah.
So that is not in the scope of what we need to do. And this is the real gas equation. Okay.
So V square is volume square only, right?
This is V volume square,
Okay.
right? This is volume square. So this is real gas equation. What we will do is we will go into a little more detail of this real gas equation by referring to Atkins.
Okay.
Okay. So uh, there is only one thing left, which is Graham's law of diffusion. From McMurray, theoretically, only Graham's law of diffusion is left.
Okay.
So this is again fairly straightforward. It is saying that what is the meaning of, first of all, diffusion? Diffusion means two gases are mixing together.
Yeah.
Like suppose there is a container with different gases here, right? And there is gas A here and there is gas B here, right?
Yeah.
And you remove this partition. If you remove this partition, then they will mix, right?
Yeah.
Once they mix, what will happen is there is a rate of mixing, right?
Yeah.
There is a rate at which two different gases mix, right? Now, the law of diffusion is saying that the rate of mixing is proportional to 1 by root m or something.
Okay.
Like it says, wait 1 second, let me just check it once. Diffusion and effusion of gases. 1 second. This is 9.7. Rate of diffusion will be proportional to 1 by root over m, I think. 1 second. See, there are nice figures where they're explaining everything. So there is a difference between diffusion and effusion. Okay. Diffusion is mixing of two gases, and effusion is one side is nothing, one side is a vacuum,
Yeah.
and one side is a gas, and there is a tiny hole. Okay.
Okay.
Effusion means it is coming out of this and going to this vacuum.
Yeah.
Right. And diffusion, if you see the figures in the book, very nicely it is explained. Right. So there's gas 1 and gas 2. Figure, this is 9.13. Okay. Page number, I think 329 or something. 329 or 352. I don't know. So just look at it.
Yeah.
Right.
For me, it's in 311.
So that figure explains what is happening, and
Yeah.
it says that Graham's law says that rate of effusion is proportional to 1 by root of m, where effusion is proportional to square root of its mass of the gas, right?
Okay. Yeah.
That can be taken as the molar mass, right? Molar mass and stuff of the gas.
Yeah.
If it is oxygen, its rate will be proportional to 1 by root of 32, and if it is nitrogen, it will be proportional to 1 by root of 28.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that is the rate of effusion. So if you compare the two rates, you can get rate 1 by rate 2 and all these equations.
Yeah.
So, okay. Okay. So in the previous section, I think he has also described this connection between kinetic energy and kinetic energy of a gas and gas constant and all. So what we will do is, what you should do is read up the whole thing once.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right now we have almost done the theory. So, but I mean, we will not leave it at this. What we will do is go in a little bit more detail on this chapter, because basic concepts are easy, but sometimes questions can be asked on the real gas stuff,
Yeah.
real gas equation, and there are some advanced ideas like compressibility of a real gas and stuff. Okay. So to handle all of that, we will need a little more detail on this. So we'll go to Atkins and go to that as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
But for now, whatever we have learned so far is sufficient to solve the chapter problems and whatnot.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so what I expect you guys to do is at least read McMurray-Fay and try some questions of this chapter,
Yeah.
that you get a little familiar with it, because next class we'll go a little bit more or a little deeper into the topic. We'll refer to it from Atkins and we'll do it. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So so just make sure that you spend a little time doing this. Also, spend a little time finishing up if there is anything left in thermochemistry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thermochemistry plus gaseous state, as much as possible. If you have any doubts and all, you should collect everything, make sure that you have it ready.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
these are all chapters that will come in your Allen in like 2 months or 1 month. I don't know when, but it will happen soon.
Gases
we started gaseous state.
When? It started right now.
Yeah, like we skipped thermochemistry. We didn't do anything with that.
Yeah.
So that will happen after that then.
Yeah.
So you just now started gaseous state?
Yeah. Today.
How many classes has it been?
I think 2.
3. Yeah.
2, 3.
Yeah, 2.
What have
yeah,
they
2,
done
3.
so far?
We have done till.
We did Amagat's law of partial volume.
Okay, they are teaching in the typical. Okay, what are the ideas that you have learned so far?
Yeah, we did all the basic laws.
Avogadro's law, you are saying? No.
No, Amagat's.
Oh,
that's a different person.
Okay. So again, they are teaching you
Avogadro's
some
law
weird
is also
stuff.
there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some weird stuff they are giving you information about, which nobody cares about. Okay. Ultimately, it is PV is equal to nRT. That's all there is to it. And the real gas equation.
We haven't done real gas.
The real gas equation and PV is equal to nRT is the whole chapter. And the other thing that is there is kinetic theory of gases assumptions. Yeah. What are the assumptions and what are the consequences?
Yeah.
So that part right now I have not done in detail because it is a physics chapter actually. HCV you have to read.
Okay.
So if you want to understand it in a little more detail, go to chapter number 25, 26 of HCV volume 2. It is in volume 2.
Yeah.
So there are all the derivations that you need are there in that. So all the assumptions are also properly mentioned and everything. Actually, PV is equal to nRT can be derived as a prediction from KTG. So all those 4, 5, 6 assumptions were there, no?
Yeah.
So using those assumptions, you can actually derive PV is equal to nRT, which is not something that you have done earlier. Like generally, you don't derive your basic equations, right? In chemistry and physics, especially.
Yeah.
Right? But this theory immediately predicts the ideal gas equation.
Yeah.
Now HCV has that. So if you want to read that, you should, because that will be something that will add more knowledge you'll have. But what we will focus on is a little more depth of theory from Atkins and questions and all you should start doing. Don't Apart from this Amagat, whatever weirdness, before that, what has been done?
Partial volume
Partial volume.
and
What is
pressure
partial
on
volume?
them.
What is
uh,
this partial volume?
it's like partial pressure, but
Okay,
Like
again,
it's like
again a useless idea, because partial pressure is the main thing. That is what you can measure.
yeah,
Okay, partial volume
yeah,
doesn't make sense, because if you have only that much gas, no, then it will
yeah,
occupy the whole volume.
yeah. So said it's like
yeah,
hypothetical, like
Okay, so
saying that it occupies only one part.
that is just stupid, dude. It will occupy the whole thing. So,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you should not learn about such hypothetical things where you will get confused. Don't get confused by this, is what I'm saying. Okay.
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
real thing is just partial pressure, which can be measured. Okay.
Yes,
The
yeah,
small amount of gas, only nitrogen will occupy the whole volume and exert a fraction of the pressure of the air, right?
yeah,
mm,
So only partial pressure is a useful idea. And after that, you don't need to worry about anything else. And before that, what else? PV is equal to nRT has not yet come.
no,
yeah.
we did
That we
that.
did.
So then almost the same thing, right? So
Yeah,
real gas equation has not been done, right?
yeah. That
No,
is
not yet.
Okay, so this week it will be done hopefully, and you should you should look at Atkins now. So next week we'll go into a little more depth on that, right?
yeah. Okay.
Everyone has the book, no? Atkins PDF.
Yeah, PDF.
PDF, yeah.
Yeah, you can find the gaseous state chapter, and it will be a little more complicated, but try and see how much you can get.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so we'll continue from here next class. Uh, I will send the motion sheets if I can. Motion sheets, if I find, I'll send for gaseous state. You can read that also
Okay.
and see any questions if you want. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's it for now then.
That's
Okay, bye.
Bye, sir.
Hmm.